Yo, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? Yeah, another late night stream. And yeah, man, I want to touch on this Deion Sanders topic when it comes to Deion Sanders accepting a head coaching job for the University of Colorado. Thus, he'll no longer be the head coach of the Jackson State University football team. And a lot of so-called black people, especially on social media, is upset about Deion Sanders' decision in playing for another college, being that he happens to be a so-called African American uh, head coach who was coaching a historically black college, or he was coaching the football team of a historically black college university, thus leaving that HBCU for a what would I guess considered to be a predominantly white institution, a PWI. But so a lot of people saying he's selling out. But the thing is, I question that logic when some people make that statement. I question their logic. Because what makes Deion Sanders a sellout from going you know, from leaving one school to going to another school in order to continue his career as a football coach? Because the thing is that Jackson State University is not, although it's considered an HBCU, but it's not and never was owned by so-called black people. It's a university that's owned by the state of Mississippi. It's a public state-owned school. The only reason why it's considered an HBCU is because historically the school was built to serve a predominantly African American student body, especially at a time where schools were segregated. But it was still owned by non-blacks, or in this case, as for today, Jackson State University is owned by the state of Mississippi. There's no black ownership in that school. The only thing black about it is the majority of students that attend that college. So it's not as if Deion Sanders left a black owned institution and chose to coach for a quote unquote white owned institution. No, he left one state run college he to become a head coach of a football team from another state run college in Colorado. I don't see how that equals him being a sellout. This shit doesn't make any goddamn sense whatsoever. I mean, although there's a piece of me who wanted to see Deion Sanders coach that school for a few more years, just for just up until that football team reach a bowl game. And the reason why I say that's because these college bowl games generate millions and millions of dollars unto the schools that make it to these bowl games. So if Deion Sanders continued becoming the head coach of Jackson State until the football team made to a bowl game, Jackson State would have had millions and millions upon millions of dollars, thus having the money to maybe afford better equipment, better training equipment for the team, better, better products, I don't know, better equipment for the whole school and what have you, right? But at the same time, I recognize that, college sports, especially Division I college sports, it's a business like any other, like any other level of sports. Is As a matter of fact, Division I college sports is just as much as a business as professional sports. And when it comes to business, well, guess what? The ones that offer the most money for the most talent is the one that's going to win. And that's the case with Deion Sanders choosing to go to become the head coach for Colorado University. And not only that, but years ago, Deion Sanders interviewed for 60 minutes and he admitted that if a big time school offer him a contract to be the head coach of their school, that he'll entertain it. So he never hid the fact that if a bigger school were to give him an offer and the right salary to be the head coach for their school, that he'll take it. He never hid that from anybody. He publicly stated that. So I don't know why people are so surprised at the move that he did. He never hid the fact that if a bigger school offered him a better salary to be the coach for their schools, that he'll take it. He never hit that. What's going on? Exactly. Hey, you know what, Jersey Hammer? I was just about to get to that point. Jersey Hammer said, "It sounds to me that a lot of folks expect some black men to have the forgiveness and patience of saints while they are getting shit on, while they're getting shit on consistently." Yeah. Black folks expect Deion to forever die on his sword for the cause. Yeah. What's going on, Lucy? What's up? But when it comes to this thinking that a lot of so-called black people have, when it comes to Deion Sanders, it goes back to this thinking that a lot of black people have collectively, where they believe that that the most talented of our people should just sacrifice so much for the benefit of the whole group, while the group does nothing to help the talented ones within our group um improve in everyday life. Like, for example, right? Deion Sanders' contract with Jackson State was not that much, right? Being the fact that Jackson State didn't really have a lot of money to give to Deion Sanders. So it's like, okay, so if you expect Deion Sanders to remain in that school and just turn down bigger contracts from bigger schools, you'd expect Deion Sanders to just sacrifice sacrifice playing for what he's actually worth, just to please the collective and say, I'm going to stick to a historically black school, even though it's not really a black owned school. you know Black people as a collective expect the talented amongst us to sacrifice so much just to please the collective. And that's not reality. That's not reality. See, talented people, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, etc., they're going they're going to gravitate to whoever is going to pay the most in exchange for their talent. Talented people, talented people understand their value, and they understand, well, for the most part, understand their value, or should understand their value, and they should understand how much their talent is worth. Thus, it is only right for them to you know go to the highest bidder when it comes to whoever will pay them for their talents. It's only right for talented people to do that. But the things with so-called black people, we think the opposite. We think, once again, I'm sorry to repeat myself, but so-called black people have this thing where they think that the talented or the most talented amongst our group should sacrifice their pursuit in attaining more resources in order to satisfy the masses of Black people. In reality, what Black people don't understand is in reality, it's supposed to be the other way around. That the masses should be able to collectively put themselves in a position where they can compete with the rest of the world in order to get the most talent. So for example, if so-called Black people were smart, I mean, once again, this Jackson State University is not a Black owned school, because a historically Black college university does not mean that you're Black owned. It only means that historically speaking, you were built to serve Black students, but you're not, but the school is not owned by anybody Black. But let's just go with this thinking, and a lot of so-called Black people don't even know that. So let's just go with this thinking that that Jackson State is a Black owned school, right? Let's just go with that logic, because that's how a lot of so-called Black people view Jackson State University. So let's just say it's a HBCU, it's quote unquote a Black owned school, hypothetically speaking, right? So-called Black people should put themselves in the position to continuously fund Jackson State University, and its alumni should be consistent with funding or donating some of their resources to the school, so the school could have enough money, right, to compete with every other Division I colleges to get some of the finest and best coaches anywhere that college football has to offer. So-called Black people should not expect the most talented of our group to sacrifice better opportunities just to satisfy the collective. What Black people need to do is, once again, put themselves in a position where they can compete with the rest of the world, so the talented ones within our group would not have a reason to run to other races of people in order to get a better opportunity in life. See, that's why with some of my past few videos, I've always emphasized in so-called Black people putting themselves in a position of power and organizing and uniting together in order to protect our people, but even some of the most talented of our people. And one way to protect them is, once again, protecting their careers and putting ourselves in a position where we can give them the best opportunity to showcase their talents. This whole concept of expecting the most talented ones of our group to sacrifice a better opportunity for themselves in order to satisfy the masses of Black people is just delusional. It's very delusional. It's not reality. It's dumb, because at the end of the day, these talented individuals, they need a roof over their heads. They need food in their bellies. They have a family to feed. So if someone gives them an opportunity to get more money off of their talent, it's only right for them to take advantage of that opportunity. And that's the case with Deion Sanders. And it's funny how some people claim that Deion Sanders sold out, but the thing is that a large portion of the coaching staff that Deion Sanders is going to take with him are primarily so-called Black people. And a large portion of the players that's going to transfer to Colorado University from Jackson State are so-called Black people. So I'm saying, how is he selling out where there's going to be a lot more, where he's putting a lot more other so-called Black people in a position to play for to play for a better school or a better funded school, and he's putting members of his coaching staff, which are primarily black, in a position to make more money for they could take care of their families. How is that being a sellout? And he's taking and a lot of the black players that's going to transfer on the Colorado University of Colorado or Colorado University, whichever way you want to call it, from Jackson State, are going to be put in a bigger stage because they'll be playing at a bigger college football conference, which is the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is one of the top-notch conferences in NCAA Division I college football. So he's placing a lot of so-called black people in the position to play or work at a bigger stage, thus putting themselves in a position to showcase their talents in a bigger stage. Thus, there's more people that could actually see what these black people are capable of doing. So I don't see where he's selling out at. I don't see what sense does it make with him with calling him a sellout for doing that. Now, once again, in reality, both Jackson State University, which is the former school that Deion Sanders coached football, and Colorado University are owned by by their respective states that they're located in. They're both state-owned schools. So Jackson State was never black owned. It was, particularly if you want to call it, white owned. Being that it's owned by the state of Mississippi, and I'm assuming that the majority of people who are in power in the state of Mississippi are Caucasian, right? So you could technically say that Jackson State University, based on that logic, is white owned, unless if I'm wrong. Unless if the majority of people in power in the state of Mississippi are other than so-called or other than Caucasians, then I've been proven right. But once again, Jackson State is a school that's owned by the state of Mississippi. It's a state-owned school. Colorado University is another state-owned school that's owned and run by the state of Colorado. So the only thing that Deion Sanders did is leave one state-owned school to go to another state-run school in order for him to coach football. He did not leave a school that was black-owned just to play for a quote-unquote white-owned school. Both of those schools, Jackson State University and Colorado University, are state-owned. What's going on, you guys? What's up? Yeah, that's the BS statements that these naysayers be saying, Jersey Hammer. Oh, he has enough money from his NFL and prize sponsorships. He should have sacrificed his time and single-handedly raise the HBCUs above the rest of the NCAA. Yeah, that's the thinking of many. Yeah. The argument, as I see it, is that he should have stayed at the HBCU instead of integrating with the quote-unquote white system of the rest of the NCAA. Yeah, that's the argument of a lot of people who are, claiming that Deion Sanders sold out. When the reality is this, HBCUs are already integrated. The fact that HBCUs participate in Division I college sports programs shows you that it's integrated, because the NCAA is owned by who? Predominantly Caucasian people. Who runs the NCAA again? What's his name? Some Caucasian guy. His first name's Mark or Mike or something. Forgot his name. What up, Third Ward? What up, Tampa? What up, Sheep Stay Sleep? What's going on? Yeah, DS1, what's up? Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, when you look up the history of Jackson State University was created by a Caucasian owned Christian missionary from New York. It was a Christian missionary group from New York that went down to Mississippi, and they actually founded that school that later was named into Jackson State University, because Jackson State from its birth had several different names. So it had several different names, but the current name now is called Jackson State University. But it was originally founded by a Christian missionary group, a predominantly white Christian missionary group from New York that went down to Mississippi. You could thank us for that, Jackson State. You could thank us New Yorkers for that. You down south motherfuckers hate us New Yorkers. you know. But yeah, yeah, Jersey Hammer. Yeah, yeah. Colleges that participate in athletics are under the governance of the rules of the NCAA or the NIAA, because there's two there's two entities that run college sports. There's the NCAA, which is the most popular, and there's the NIAA, which belongs to, the people that participate in the NIAA is not talented enough to go to the NCAA. But mainly the college games we watch on TV are colleges that participate in the NCAA, also known as the National Collegiate Athletic Association. So all the schools that play in these Division One programs are governed by the NCAA, which is white owned, by the way. So how are you going to say that Deion Sanders is a sellout for choosing to play for another school, thus leaving the HBCU that he used to coach in, when the HBCU that he used to coach in is, one, not black owned, and two, participate in the NCAA, which is white owned? The NCAA is not black owned. Jackson State itself as a university is not black owned. So how did he sell out? Once again, he left one state. Deion Sanders left one state-run school to go to another state-run school in order to coach football. It's not like he did some sort of, you know, it's not like he did some sort of Benedict Arnold shit to so-called black people. No, he did not do that. Yeah, 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 Jersey Hammer, that's correct. Yeah, Division One, Two, and Three are all governed by the NCAA. Yeah, yeah, Division One, Two, and Three are governed by the NCAA. Yeah, that's true. What were you trying to do, Jersey Hammer? Correct me or something? I been know that. I used Division One early in my statement, because that's the college sports that we're for those that watch college sports. That's the sector of college sports that we're familiar with, because Division One college sports is is basically the college sports that's televised. You know, you don't you don't see that many televised games for Division Two and Division Three college sports. But yeah, the NCAA governs Divisions One, Two, and Three of college sports. But yeah, I don't see any logic on what so-called black people are saying about this concept. But once again, it goes with this thinking that so-called black people believe that the most talented of our group have to sacrifice any have to sacrifice a better opportunity for themselves in order to please the masses of so-called black people, while the masses of so-called black people do nothing to cater to the talented masses of our people, for they won't have a reason to want to go to any other place else. I'm just tired of so-called blacks not thinking in reality. They have this damn delusional, or they have these delusions of grandeur. These extreme delusional thought processes. You know, the talented people deserve to make as much money as they can from the talent that God has blessed them with. So if this means that they have to run to a person that don't have the same skin color as them in order to receive the best opportunity that they can get, then they have every right to do that, and it's only right for them to do that. Fuck that shit. But once again, so-called black people, we should have been put ourselves in a position in order to get our social economics straightened up and to put ourselves in a position of power. For this case, we would be able to have enough resources in order to keep the talented pools of our people in our neighborhoods, working, for our institutions, showcasing their talent for our companies, and etc. and etc. See, once again, it is not the talented people or the talented sect of black people that need to sacrifice opportunities to satisfy the masses. It is the masses, so-called black people, that need to create an environment where the talented masses are protected, are comfortable, and are content. Because if they're not, then they're always going to leave elsewhere. That's common sense. See, and other races of people understand that. Other groups of people understand that. Other groups of people understand that it's not the talented masses of their people that just need to sacrifice everything for so the whole collective can be satisfied. It's for the collective to create, like I said, well, I'm sorry to repeat myself. It's up to the collective to create an environment in which the talented masses of that collective will be content in remaining in that environment. It's up to the collective of people to create an environment to hone the talent, uplift, train, and provide the best opportunities as possible for the talented masses of their people in whichever areas of activity you're talking about, in whichever industry you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's very delusional. Right, that reasoning always killed me. The idea that the talented masses get shit on coming up, but are then expected to come back and provide time and resources to the same community that shit on them. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. You mean they get shitted on? Yeah. Let me reread that. It's a statement that Jersey Ham just wrote. He said, That reasoning always killed me. The idea that the town and masses get shitted on. I think he meant shitted on coming up, but are then expected to come back and provide time and resources to the same community that shitted on them. Yeah, yeah. Ain't that something? Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah. I don't see the sense in that. I don't see how that makes sense. I don't see how that reasoning makes sense. You know, but then again, we're talking about a group of people who, for the most part, do not think in the realms of reality. We don't. A lot of us don't think within the realms of reality. We don't. We don't think within the realms of logic. Like the way that a lot of so-called black people think. They're they're too idealistic in their thinking. They're too idealistic. And although I believe that everybody is idealistic to a certain degree, but I also believe that people need to balance their ideals with reality. We need a healthy balance of that. We need a healthy balance of ideals and reality, which means that, we can have our beliefs, but we need to also have an equal amount of understanding the real world that we live in. And just understand that how in this real world that some things just don't make no damn sense. Like, for example, it doesn't make sense to think that the talented masses of our people should just sacrifice opportunities from elsewhere just to satisfy the masses of our own people. No, that doesn't make sense. In this real world that we live in, that way of thinking does not make any sense. If so-called black people, and you know what, and it's funny how so-called black people speak about this Deion Sanders situation and trying to shame Deion Sanders, calling him a sellout for leaving Jackson State and going to be the coach of Colorado University, when most so-called black people don't give a fuck about these HBCUs anyway. I mean, a lot of these HBCUs heavily rely on fun. Now, don't get me wrong. Almost all universities rely on funding from the state and federal government. But what separates HBCUs from PWIs, aka predominantly white institutions, is that a lot of PWIs receive hella donations from people who from their alma maters, or from people who graduate and or have been a member of these respective schools. When it comes to HBCUs, they receive very little donations from their alma mater, from those who graduated from these institutions. Because once again, so-called black people don't really give a fuck about HBCUs anyway. They don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, sheep. Yeah, DS1. Niggas don't give a fuck about HBCUs anyhow. That's why HBCUs, for a long time, always had an issue when it comes to getting money. And if so-called black people were smart, they would have gone the Notre Dame route, right? If you know the history of Notre Dame University, that's located in Indiana. Which part of Indiana is Notre Dame located? Is it South Bend, Indiana? I know Notre Dame is located and I'm talking about the university. I'm not talking about the Notre Dame in France. I'm talking about the actual university in the United States. I know it's located in Indiana, right? But is it located in? Oh, Notre Dame, Indiana. Okay. Yeah. Notre Dame is a private Catholic institution, right? Oh, South Bend? Okay, South Bend, Indiana. Okay. South Bend, Indiana. All right. Okay, I was right. Yeah. Notre Dame was founded by Irish Catholics. It's a private Catholic institution founded and owned by Irish Catholics. And at the time when Notre Dame was first established and they first had their football team at that time, Irish Americans was like Irish Americans was basically they was looked down upon by the other groups of Caucasians. Irish Americans historically in America were looked upon as almost niggas, you know? You almost a nigga. If you was a few shades darker, we'd lynch your ass. You know what I'm saying? But that's how a lot of Irish Americans was treated in America at one point in time. And that's when Notre Dame University first existed at the time when a lot of Irish Americans was being mistreated in America. Thus, the Notre Dame football team, right? They a lot of the big time uh uh NCAA or college conferences at the time did not want to accept Notre Dame into their conferences because it was an Irish Catholic owned school, right? So you know what the Irish Catholics did in Notre Dame? What they did is put themselves in a position to get as many talented players and coaches as possible for so the football team could one day become an elite football team, right? And they did that. They did that to the point of fact that now Notre Dame, the University of Notre Dame, is considered one of the top-notch uh, uh, um, powerhouse football schools in America. And guess what? The Notre Dame football team, I don't know about now, but I know for a long time it still did not belong to any conference, any college football conferences, right? Or NCAA conferences. And although almost every goddamn NCAA conference would want Notre Dame to be would want the Notre Dame football team to be a member of their conference. Guess what? The Notre Dame University gave all these conferences the middle fingers. Like, screw you. We don't want you. Fuck y'all. But once again, the Notre Dame football school, right? But like I said, the Notre Dame football team built itself to become one of the powerhouse football teams in America. And they did that through funding each other, through building with each other. And even now, those who graduated from that school still donate a portion of their money to Notre Dame. Same thing with other schools such as Duke University. Same thing with schools such as St. John's University here in New York. Same thing with schools such as Georgetown University. These are private colleges that I'm talking about. But also, when you look at the Michigan State universities, the Ohio State universities, the University of Michigan, the University of Alabama's, the University of Florida's, the University of Miami's, the UCLA's, the USC's of the world, the UNLV's of the world, the University of Arizona's of the world, the University of Texas out in Austin. A lot of people that graduated from these schools give back and donate to these schools. And how many people are doing that for HBCUs? With the exception of people like Bill Cosby. Come on now. It's like we don't give a fuck about these HBCUs anyway. Let me tell you guys a story, right? Years ago, I went for the first time to visit Howard University. That's located in Washington, D.C. Howard University, like basically has to be Howard University has to be the most popular HBCU in America, right? And when I was walking in the campus, I was asking random people this question. Now, these random people that I was asking are students of Howard University or were students of Howard University at that time. And I asked them one simple question. I asked them, who is Howard University named after? Most of them didn't even know that shit. And I don't know, for those of you who ever been to Howard University or whoever will visit the campus, in the middle of the campus, there's like a big giant courtyard, right? Like a very large courtyard. So I was in the middle of the courtyard walking around asking people, um, the same question, you know, who was Howard University named after? And motherfuckers did not know. And they attended the school. So to me, I looked at it as these motherfuckers don't even give a fuck about the school that they attend, that they don't even give a fuck to even learn the history of their school, to see who the school is named after. And here's a shame. Here's what's the most fucked up part, right? Once again, I told you, I was in the middle of the courtyard, just walking around asking random students of the school who is the school named after, and they didn't know. Dog, when I kept on walking in the courtyard, something told me to look to my right. And I looked to my right, I saw a big old statue. Guess who this was a statue of? The motherfucker that founded Howard University. His name is Oliver Howard, who was a Civil War veteran. And it's a statue, and the statue was standing on top of this, of a platform, and the platform shows a plaque saying Oliver Howard, the founder of Howard University, and it gives a brief history of how and why he founded the school. So I'm like, these niggas walk around this courtyard, I bet, every day and pass by this fucking statue and still don't know who their own school was named after. But it goes to show you how much they're not concerned about their school, to the point of fact that they don't even know who the fucking school was named after. That shit killed me. And the statue of the man that founded the school sits right in the middle of the fucking courtyard. That shit made no sense to me. And once again, like I said before, the fucking statue shows a plaque giving a brief history of the fucking school on how the school was fucking founded. Yo, I'm like, damn. Jersey M says they, as in Notre Dame, are still independent, and it is my understanding that the FCS is the main powerhouse conferences in Notre Dame. Okay, okay. And Jersey Ham also said that all the Ivy League schools and Patriot League schools have strong alumni associations and huge endowments. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, especially the Ivy Leagues. Oh yeah, oh yeah, exactly, Ayo, exactly, Ayo. They go to school to party, not to learn. I'm like, that shit killed. I'm like, that shit killed me, man. I'm like, I don't even go to the fucking school, but I motherfucking pay attention so damn much, to the point of fact that I paid attention to the big ass statue that shows the statue of the man that founded the goddamn school. You know, but this further goes to show you how so-called black people don't even give a fuck about HBCUs, to the point of fact that a lot of them who attend HBCUs don't give a fuck about the school to know the history of the school. And a lot of them don't give a fuck about the school to the point of fact that they'll graduate from these HBCUs and never donate a dime to the school that educated them and put them in a position at a better paid career. So don't give me this bullshit about calling Deion Sanders a sellout because he chose to go to to become a head coach of a university that has a bigger platform and plays for a bigger conference and get more money. When a lot of you people who sitting there shaming Deion Sanders haven't given a dime to these HBCUs. Hell, I go as far as to tell you this, right? A lot of you niggas voted for what you call it. You voted for Joe Biden in 2020. And do you know Joe Biden donated I won't say donate, but Joe Biden gave way less money to HBCU schools than the former president, Donald Trump. And a lot of you niggas hate Donald Trump. I mean, I hate Donald Trump also, but let's just keep it real. Donald Trump did more for HBCUs than you niggas. And I'm not even a Donald Trump fan, but I have to admit that shit. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. Mississippi don't care about no HBCU. Yeah, Mississippi don't care about HBCU. Yeah. No. Mississippi got their own financial issues anyway. Yeah, the state of Mississippi, especially the city of Jackson, that's still struggling with providing, clean water to its residents. They got their own financial issue, but Mississippi as a state, they don't care for no HBCU, man. You right about that. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. So don't feed me this nonsense about people calling Deion Sanders a sellout for leaving Jackson State University and choosing to go to Colorado University. Anybody with a brain would do the same thing. But I'm out of here, man. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Well, I have one more thing to say, and I'm sorry to be. Hold on. Didn't that? What's that girl? What's that lady's name? What's that little girl's name? Brittany Renner. Isn't Brittany Renner an alma mater from Jackson State University? Didn't she used to go to Jackson State University when she was in college? Now, for when it comes to all the money that she made through being a damn escort and through whatever however way she make money, have she donated a dime to Jackson State University? Once again, so-called black people, we cannot expect the most talented of our group to just sacrifice better opportunities just for so they can satisfy the black masses. It is up to the black masses to do whatever it takes to keep the talented members of our groups, thus putting themselves in a position to create organizations and platforms that cater to the talented of our group, that's used to own the talented of our group, and to put ourselves in a position for so the talented members of our group won't desire to go anywhere else in order to get a better opportunity. That's what we have to do. But that's all I have to say in regards to this topic. I've been on here for too long. Damn, I'm in here for like 50 minutes. Shit. Man, I didn't even plan to be in this motherfucker for that long anyway. All right, man, I'm out of here.